Well, hello there, people of the internet, and hello again. I'm TheMBmulti. Welcome to part 37 of my Rome 2 Total War Cimmeria Let's Play campaign. And this may be the final episode, because I am almost there with victory conditions. Since I need 4 settlements. 1 is over there, and then I guess the 3 over there. And then I'm done. Or I need to... yeah, that, but cut that. That's what I'm doing right now, and or I need to find a couple more trading people to trade with. Which maybe I'll do that. I'll hire a dignitary over here. Oh, that's not suspicious at all. Send that guy over there to find some possible trading partners. Yeah, in the previous episode, I believe we declared war on Parthia, and ever since I've been thundering all over them. Parthava's already dead, the Dahai are dead. All of that stuff that they used to have is mine now, which we're fixing up after I conquered it. And look at all my armies here thundering across the steppes here. We even lost this. There was a big army there that we took out. And yeah, we're off to the final settlement of Parthia now. After I conquer that, I need 3 more settlements or a couple more trading partners, like I said. And then I'm done with this campaign. Then we got victory. Aphrodisia? Oh god. Capture any settlements. Well, I'm about to do that. Oh, my hero. Okay. Yeah, you just got a fuck ton of authority. That's a good trait, actually. You just got 6 authority just like that. Alright, well, the 2 of you can go hunt that guy down. Look at all my armies. Way too many. I don't even need this many for this. Okay, well, he's just taking attrition over there. Move these guys and then... Yeah, I really don't need this many armies just for these Parthians, but whatever. Oh crap, he's taking attrition right now. Oh, that's my elite army as well. That sucks. Oh my god! Just hunker down over here then. Because I want to fight that battle manually if possible with my Cimmerian noble infantry. Jeez. That attrition was brutal. Also, yeah, it said Ancient Exposed Hele. Yeah, you. That's the spy I started out with, I believe. She's been here the whole time. Of course, you fucking idiots. Well, I was trying to make it like seem nice, like, oh wow, she was here the whole time, she didn't even die of natural cause, and then the very next thing she does is... Yeah, you have failed me, but you leveled up. Like, congratulations, you failed. So I don't know, you've got terrible stats, holy hell, you need some authority for critical success. -1 corruption faction wide, okay, that's useful. I mean, 1 is not a lot, but at least it's something.
My skills
Oh, you were there. Okay. Yeah, I'll send you this way. Yeah, this is the guy I just trained, and we have one hero over here. And the other one is in that army. Yeah, okay, so who was the sick bastard that named their child Aphrodisia? As in aphrodisiac, as in something that has sex a lot? Agatha. Aristocles. Holy hell, I'm pretty sure I've never had a family tree this big before. I mean, I've had big family trees in Rome too, but this is getting out of hand. Yeah, 24, can get married. Prolific husband. Religious wife, okay. You can get married as well. A brutal husband, okay. Well, beautiful wife. There we go. All of you got all those sisters got married at the same time. Wealthy husbands. Good. Good pick. Acid-tongued wife. Okay, you're 24. Get married as well. Social climbing wife. Holy hell, you got 9 authority. 9 cunning. I mean. Hello. Oh yeah, because of her. She gives 2 cunning and then that gives 2 cunning as well. But where the hell does that other stuff? You start out with 3 by default. 3 cunning. But 3 plus 4 is not 9. So where the hell do the... What? So where did the other 2 cunning come from? It's not there. Oh, that's because of his education, probably. Ah, so he got plus 2 cunning because of his education. Then he got plus 4 because of his wife and this. Yeah, okay. So he is ridiculously cunning. So he's super strategic. Okay. You're 23, but you don't have... What the hell? You got 78 gravitas, and that's not enough? Did I always need 88? How the hell did you guys get so much gravitas? Yeah, it's always 88. Okay. No, you're just 15. You're not gonna get married anytime soon. I mean, back in ancient times you would have been, but... I'm running this family. Apollodorus. No children for you, that's a bit... odd. Yeah, Aphrodisia. Yeah, okay, well, she's not in my family even. She's adopted. Why would you name your child that way? Unless she wants to become a prostitute later, but that's a bit of a presumptuous thing to say right when she's born. Oh, she just came of age as well. Does he have a... Oh, he does. There. So that would be the next heir to the throne. I think we've got everybody married that can be married. Yeah, she has... Yeah, she's 23, but she doesn't have the authority yet, so I can't get her married yet. Alright. How's politics? Everybody's barely holding it together, but they're holding it together, so... Wow. You've got a lot of gravitas. You get married as well. How old were you? You're in your 60s, right? Yeah, 63, and she has a 26-year-old husband right now. What the hell does that do? Flirt. +5 gravitas per turn for 2 turns. So she can flirt with this guy. Consequence, they were seen together and did seem to enjoy being so. Okay, so they have a bit less gravitas or something right now, or? Like, what the hell was the point of that? Okay, so they have more loyalty because of that, because I sent one of my women over there to flirt with that guy. Oh, so you can get more loyalty that way. Okay. Oh. Good thing to know if I need some loyalty very quickly. Just get some of those women that I get for... Because you can adopt those women over there. I adopted them because of they were characters. Like, oh, there's a priestess and do you want to marry her into the family? But then she's not actually in the family and I need my... What's it called? My faction leader to properly adopt him, which I haven't done yet. But yeah, I can just use them as sort of like politicians or whatever. Well, I hope you guys took a massive amount of damage because of attrition as well. Because I only had to walk like a few hundred meters and my army got absolutely wasted. Ugh, that doesn't matter. Farm. Farm. Got Master Horse Breeder or whatever. Oh, it probably means that I can upgrade all of my cavalry. Oh, and that means I can upgrade all of the swords. Yeah. There we go. Golden attack. And also golden horse thing for the cavalry. Oh, it was already on level 3 horses. Yeah, it was already a level 3. I already had a level 3 somewhere. But I can get the golden upgrades now. That is new. Probably will cost me a fortune, not that that really matters, because I've got, what is that, 9 million denarii? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I got 9 million denarii in the bank, so I'm pretty sure I can pay for this. Oh yeah, that absolutely tore them apart. Very good. Alright, did I miss an army? Oh, these two, I guess? No? No, I think I did all of them, but I'll double check. Yeah, these guys, the fleets don't count. I need the armies. Should have done this from the beginning, actually. From here. Okay, you get a move on because I want to fight a fight with my with these motherfuckers. So you go together with this guy. I would have sent him, but yeah, the attrition. Do actually go into encampment stance. Oh, perfect. He's right next to the fort, so we can just chill there. If he gets attacks. And not that it really matters, because this is what these other armies look like.
How can I be of assistance?
Okay, well, please succeed this time.
A little sabotage.
Oh my god, man. Can you just fucking succeed once?
You'll never know I was there.
There we go.
Your will is done.
Okay, you stand over there. Wait on that side of the river, and you stand there. You go over there. Those guys, yeah, okay, so... He can't go... Well, he can go all the way back there if he wants to. But he has less movement, right? Yeah, minus 32%. Could be my movement range because of that. Oh yeah, I forgot to move the champion. Need to attach him to an army.
This path is blocked.
Oh, look at that. There's some wolves over there. Go away, Athens. Go away, Getae. Go away, Knossos. Yeah, you need some cunning at this point. Encountered a different faction. Very good. Alright, just upgrade all of this. Upgrade that shit too. There, and then you make the attack next turn. Oh, okay, yeah, he just accepted his fate. He was like, alright, fuck it. I can respect that. Just, there we go, just get it over with. Also for their sake. Yeah, need to remember to enslave people because I was running low on slaves. Because I've just been killing them all the whole time. I need to actually, like, enslave them. Yeah, sure. Attach yourself to that one, doesn't really matter. Okay, so I discovered, what was it, that other faction? Yeah, you. They're at war with that faction. I cannot trade with them. Oh, they just have that army standing there. Go there. Alright, well, yeah, you can go there, because whoever is there, yeah, see, they have a port there, and we can actually trade with them. That's pretty insane, actually, because the trade happens from my capital. So, the trade would go from here to here, out of the Black Sea, through the Mediterranean, past Greece, past Italy, past Africa, through, or past Spain, through the Strait of Gibraltar, around Spain, around France, around between the Netherlands and England, around Denmark, underneath Sweden, to here, even though it would have been so much faster to just walk there, but that's what'll happen once I discover whoever lives over there. Those guys. The Ice-T Eye. And that is absolutely ridiculous how how that trade will go. They'll just go like around the entire world. Right, and the turn, next turn we can attack. Oh, whoops. Where the hell's their army? They had an army somewhere still. At least one, and I thought actually two. I thought there was an army in that village still. Oh, there we go. Well, they just raised a new one.
I dare not ask much for my people.
Game? Okay, I was... Okay. Silver Tongue. Our envoys have discovered a woman in a foreign village who seems to be blessed with the power of persuasion. Important character. Or political favor. I don't need the loyalty. They're already loyal to me. Oh, yeah, well, whatever. And I researched something. Yeah, all military stuff is done. All of those are done as well. I believe I just did that. So do this next. Then we got less corruption. And then finish up that stuff. I think this is what is left of that army, that full stack that ran through the snow. Yeah, I don't need you to help me out, I think. Pretty sure I can just do it with this guy. Yeah. I'll attack that in a second. Where is my... Yeah, there you are. Keep traveling. Need to discover some... Yeah. Well, I only need you to discover that one, because once that ridiculously convoluted trade route is established, then I'll discover a whole bunch of other factions that I can trade with. So, these armies are so unnecessary over here. Alright. So what is the garrison? 2 Persian foot archers and 1 elite... Well, 2 Parthian foot archers, 1 elite Persian archer. They were just training this. Cataphracts. For the general. These motherfuckers. Is any of you the king, actually? I didn't check. No, the king is somewhere. Maybe not even commanding an army, or commanding an army somewhere in the fog of war. Okay, so they've got 3 lots of horse archers here, 4 if you count the general, then 2 more from there. Okay, but I've got a faction of foot archers, elephants, and I've got some horse archers of my own. So let's go. Possibly the final battle of the campaign. Alright. Oh, it's this town. Or this version of the town, you know?
Archers!
Citizen cavalry! Alright, so Yeah, it took me a very long time, but here they are. My most elite infantry, or the most elite infantry of Cimmeria. The Cimmerian noble infantry.
Spear infantry ready.
Oh, that's a weird comb or whatever you call that. Stuff that they put on their helmet. Strange. But yeah, my most elite infantry right here. 60 attack, 75 defense. Mind you, this is level 1 experience and gold attack and defense upgrades. You know, all of that upgrades made these citizen cavalry pretty buff as well. So yeah, this is my most elite infantry as Cimmeria. And then my most elite cavalry, which is citizen cavalry. Some imported Syrian armored war elephants, mercenaries, and of course my most elite horse archers, the noble horse archers, and some faction trait mercenary Amazonian riders, which can be hired anywhere because they're faction mercenaries. Alright, and of course appreciation for these motherfuckers down here, my awesome archers.
Then I remembered we are fighting Parthians. The only problem is trying to find one who isn't running.
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
To arms.
Yeah, oh, they all have the same cape. Right. Get marching! We'll kill them all!
Warriors eager for blood!
Melee horsemen.
Orders understood. Elephants.
Get riding! You've conquered the entire east, and now we're coming for the final piece of the jigsaw, essentially. Very ironically, very close to home, where the campaign started. Riders on me! Okay, we have armored horse archers right there. Some more shit back there, some mob. Parthian foot archers. Parthian horse archers, armored horse archers. Okay. They're shooting at us, but we're retaliating. There we go. You guys get close as well. Start shooting. Oh, there we go. The armored horse archers are in a world of pain over here. Alright, you guys have to endure for a bit, because we're having an archer battle. Alright, they're wavering. Oh, they're being slaughtered as well over here right now. And shattered. Very good. And I'm taking out some horse archers as well. Yeah, my horse archers are shooting on these guys now too. What's that? Eastern slingers? I didn't even notice they had slingers. Was that in the army? I'm pretty sure it wasn't in the garrison, because the garrison had 3 archer units. 2 Parthian foot archers and then 1 Persian elite archer. elite Persian archer. Alright, it's now time to take out some more armored horse archers. Oh, the slingers are shooting at something over there. Oh, they're being massacred so hard. Alright, move further forward. So just so that you have an easier time hitting things. Oh wow, you're just wasting a ton of arrows. Okay, you guys get closer, you can shoot at these guys as well. Oh, there we go. Massacre. Elite Persian archers coming in.
The battle is turning in our favor.
Yeah, no shit. I'm shooting the fuck out of them all. There's the reinforcements. General and his royal cataphracts. Or skirmishes as well. Yeah, shoot the horse skirmishers or the elite Persian archers. Why are you moving? They're right there. Oh my god. Alright, you guys charge in there. Yeah, shoot there. There we go. Freaking horse skirmishers. Yeah, there we go. We can outflank those. What even was that? Come on. Yeah, there we go. Parthian foot archers there. Cataphracts coming in. Oh, there we go. Horse skirmishers being destroyed. Elephants, get over here. Oh, yeah, that's the general on noble horse archers.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Only 19 cataphracts left.
Swift melee cavalry. Spearmen, ready for orders. Spears ready. By your command.
Alright, just push them in. Pretty sure we'll just make them crumble right there. Oh, the general won't even stand and fight.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
We'll just end it right there. Nice. Well, my archers did most of the work. They just obliterated those guys. The elephants got 9 kills. Must have been some retreating men that walked that way. Yeah, the Cimmerian noble infantry was being shot at quite a lot, but they didn't really lose that many. Well, what did they have was like 75 melee defense. Well, no, it wasn't melee, but, you know, 75 defense regardless. Oh, so, okay, so no, the horse skirmishers weren't in the army, they were actually in the garrison, I just didn't see. So they get horse skirmishers and Parthian horse archers in garrison. Yeah, I just didn't notice those two. Yeah, they get 2 Parthian horse archers, 2 horse skirmishers, 2 Parthian foot archers, and 1 elite Persian archer. Fucking hell. 5 archer cohorts and then 2 horse skirmisher cohorts. For 7 missile units in total for just some sort of tiny town as garrison. I mean, of course, they have that level 3 stable thing there, which is what provides the... at least it provides the elite Persian archers, I think. Now I can subjugate them. I'll just raise it.
Ready for orders.
There we go. We finally have leather. So now in terms of economic victory... Yeah, well, we don't have it yet because we're not producing it. We need 2 turns. Oh, is there no downside? Oh, never mind. There is... It costs food in the end. What does it do? 400 leather, of course. Growth. Research rate. Okay. Wealth for manufacturing. Plus 20% wealth for manufacturing. Again. Industry all regions. Yeah, there's not a lot of... Oh, there's that. There's industry there. Oh, I guess we just switch that to this then, since, you know, we need some industry. Otherwise that bonus doesn't do anything. We don't need the happiness. Look at that. We got plus 80 happiness, even with the minus 25 conquest penalty. Admittedly, there are a fuck ton of armies here that provide public order. But still, it's pretty impressive. Okay. So we need... Oh, both army traditions and a level up for the general. Relentless attacker, of course. Yeah, all of you guys don't need to move at all because there's not really anything to do. Oh, there you are. Where the hell were you? Okay, so there is one more fight to kill those guys. Civil. Oh, I was just talking about how that spy survived the entire time and now she dies of natural causes. What a coincidence. I was just talking about you. Yeah, upgrade. Yeah, sure, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, so he was just like hiding around here somewhere. Oh, you are...
Command. Get the fortifications ready. Ready for orders.
Alright, so now... Yeah, there we go. You see, we got every resource. And we got the province. The only thing I need is factions to trade with, because I have everything else. And for military, I need... Yeah, 3 settlements. But it'll be easy to find some trading partners once we discover these guys and establish a trade route with them.
My work here is done.
So 2 more turns or something. There, anybody else that's taking attrition? There's Doesn't look like it. Don't know why I'm sending that guy specifically over there. So that's the king, right? Yeah. Oh, he doesn't have a kingdom anymore, really. Alright. I need a new spy. I'll raise it here. Alright, well, they're all equally terrible. But yeah, spy on the border. Okay, Parthia is, yeah, suffering from a ton of attrition right now. But they suffer from double attrition there. Because... First of all, because they don't have any territory. And second of all, because they're actually walking through an attrition zone. Okay. After a night of heavy drinking and observing the heavens, this family member is convinced they can predict the future. However, the rest of the family are still evaluating the evidence. They got extra zeal out of this. You. Well, at least you got zeal, so that's nice. Poor disciplinarian. Procrastinator. He is religious though. He is trustworthy. Oh, he's trustworthy. So he can actually predict the future because he's trustworthy. Loses authority, there he gains authority, there he loses authority again. Cunning. Okay, so he's losing authority a little bit. Yeah, he just gained some zeal, so that's good, I guess. Oh. Wow, but I was waiting for Parthia to just. Okay, they just randomly died out of. I don't know what happened exactly. Oh, look at all these temples to Poseidon. We get plus 105 public order in this province. Where the hell can we see that? Yeah, here. Huh. Again, plus 23 due to characters. And 13 to military presence. So that will go away, but regardless, that's still a ton. %Greek. It's 0.1% Balkan here. Well, you can level up a little bit over there. Oh, come on. Alright, well, next turn we can discover them, and then the turn after that will be victory. Yeah, I'm not really gonna... I could move all of them like close to the border or whatever, so that they are not just sitting out here in the steppes, but to be honest, I can't really be bothered. I will move you here. Why? I don't know. Almost 10 million denarii in the bank in the next turn. If I was allowed to, I could raise I don't know how many more armies at this point. But I can't because I've already reached my army limit. But if there was no army limit, then oh man, I'm making, what is that, 248,000 denarii every single turn. Got over 10 million denarii in the bank right now. I can raise a whole bunch of extra armies. Yeah, sure, you will get that one, and then the... Okay, so you can get, like, you can beef up your generals unit with this. Not that it really matters on the boats, but... Not that it really matters for Cimmeria, since the general's bodyguard units are kind of underwhelming. There's negative food in all of these provinces. Well, here it'll be fixed. Well, maybe. Not really, actually, because all of that will take over. There's a lot of food issues everywhere. And there we go. There we go, there's food there. There's barely enough food to go around there. And there we go, this is producing a fuck ton of food. See, producing even more than Egypt. Which is impressive. There's food. Surplus, yeah, so all the food surplus is coming from down here. And there's a few food surplus areas here and there. Alright, so now, in order to finish off the campaign, you need to walk a little bit further this way. There we go. Then we discover those guys. Then we're gonna say, hey, do you want to trade?
Welcome, worthy friend.
They say yes.
Let us break bread and drink ale before words pass our lips.
Oh, you got still 6,000 denarii. Import all the goods. And then, like I said, the extremely convoluted trade route reveals other factions, which we can then in turn trade with as well. Okay, so the Boii I own. Yeah, the Suebi died like very early on in the campaign, I believe. The Nervii I own all of Magna Germania, or almost all of it. Oh, they killed the Frisia, dickheads. The Atrebartes own a bunch of stuff out here in Gaul. Our Veni are decently big. Everybody's just chilling over here for the most part. They're not really doing anything.
You honor us. There is food enough for 2 armies awaiting us. All praise to the god.
Okay, so how many do I need in the end? 15. I need 2 more. Well, that's easily fixed. We'll just talk to the Rugii.
Greetings, friend. I have called for good ale to ease your throat and ripe. I will take.
There we go. And then we'll just.
My friend.
No, I'll trade with the Lusitani or something.
Welcome, worthy friend. Let us break bread and drink ale before words pass.
No, they don't want to pay 9,000 denarii.
I will take.
There we go. That is economic victory. Alright, and then we just need to enter turn once. We'll save it. And then we will get victory. We have to decline a whole bunch of offers on the diplomatic screen one more time. Oh, it's just Athens, okay. And there we go.
Hold steady, lads! Hold! Attack!
I've seen that winning animation. Oh, that music timing was perfect, actually. I've seen that winning animation for the Greek so many times because I've done a lot of Greek campaigns on the channel. Alright. That is victory. And look at the trade route there. That is victory. That's the end of the Cimmeria Campaign. That is turn 204. 222 BC. Cimmerian Empire rules half the world, essentially. Well, you can pause the video here and read all the stats. I am just curious for the battle stuff. Oh, wow. How many? 15,535,029 denarii is what I accumulated everything all together. So currently I've got 10 million, so I only spent 5 million. Most due to taxes. That is 11,616,033 denarii in taxes. That's a lot. And only 303,000 from trade. Still a lot, but not anywhere close to taxes. Okay, I was just curious for the military stuff. Total battles fought 174. Only personally fought 43. Auto resolved 131. Only 5 naval battles. Ugh. Oh no. That was the whole point of this campaign. Only 5. 22 ambush battles? Really? 22? 40 land battles? 72 settlement battles? 2 port battles? 33 sieges? 168 victories. So I won all 5 naval battles that I fought. I won both port battles that I fought. Only was defeated 6 times. 5 on the settlement and 1 on a siege. You see, I executed 26,447 men, and I only enslaved 3,373. So yeah, that makes sense that we... what's it called? We're running low on slaves in the end. And I've released 11,000 indirectly, yeah. If you're wondering, like, oh, what the hell? You never pressed release. How the hell did you release 11,000? Every time you occupy a settlement, you release all the captives. So... I indirectly released 11,000 men. Never looted anything. Never liberated anything. Only raised and occupied. Yeah, and I sacked twice and believe that was misclicking. The agents, fucking idiots. Alright, then I'll just do the final bits of... oh, a lot of children born as well. Yeah, economic victory. I'll just do the final bits of like management. And then I'll end off the episode here. Alright, send some children off to tutoring again. There we go. Oh, there we go. They just got a child very quickly. Alright, you lose authority, but you just need to get children. You don't really need to do anything else. I've got more suitable women to do special things if necessary. Like, I have to make an entire special episode just to manage my family tree if this were to continue for another you know, if this campaign were to continue for another episode. Like, managing my family tree or whatever, or like the whole politics and shit, just takes up a separate episode. Wow, that's barely being held together. There we go. Suck his dick a little bit, then maybe he'll shut up. Stop complaining about the loyalty bullshit. Some skills. Oh, I just upgraded this guy, and we get to upgrade him again. Alright, so there we go. That is it for my Cimmeria Let's Play campaign. I'll save it. And return to the main menu. So there we go. That is it for Cimmeria. Again, no achievement because I've already beaten that campaign once before. Yeah. So, final thoughts. Well, Cimmeria is a pretty cool faction. Not super, like, expensive or whatever, but those Cimmerian noble infantry at the end are pretty solid, badass infantry for elite late game stuff. But the hoplites are sturdy regardless, so you can just go with the regular hoplites, or you can go for the Scythian ones, which are actually like a little bit less than... They have less stats than the regular hoplites that everyone can make, which is a bit weird. But, you know, it's fine. Also, you lack a lot of melee cav. You have citizen cavalry early on, and then that's it. There's no further better melee cav. You need to hire some crazy mercenary melee cav if you want some better ones. You do get some horse archers, though, because you're on the steppes, close to the steppes when you start. So... you know, you get some some influence from the steppe nomads. You also get those foot archers, but I never trained them because, of course, Cimmeria's other elite unit, the Cimmerian Heavy Archer, is way more superior than those steppe foot archers. I believe they have more range, but most importantly, they've got more like accuracy and ammo and all that other type of good stuff, especially when you upgrade them. Those Cimmerian Noble Archers or Heavy Archers or whatever they're called, they are absolutely amazing. Really like those units. Super cool. So yeah, Cimmeria is a pretty cool faction. Heavy infantry, heavy archers, horse archers, but then lacking melee cav. Yeah, pretty interesting faction, but like I said, I kind of already knew that. yeah, the reason why I started this campaign really was for naval battles, and there haven't really been that many naval battles. I mean, look, what was it? 5 naval battles and 2 port battles. So, you know, not the most amount of naval battles, even though this campaign was supposed to be sort of focused on that. But while I was trying to focus on that stuff, I kind of like figured out why I never really bothered with naval battles beyond this, before this point, because, you know, the point of this was do naval battles because I've never done them, don't really do them often, I should say. And people were asking me like, hey, could you please do some naval battles, because we rarely see you do them. Well, I realized why I and maybe other people in the Rome 2 Total War community don't really do them very often, because they're not really necessary and they don't really bring you anything. I mean, it's super, you know, it's pretty cool, the naval battles, you know, see those big ships and everything, it's cool, and I'll admit that, but that it's not necessary. Even in Rome 1, having a naval presence is more important than in this game. Because in Rome 1, if you want to go anywhere on the Mediterranean, anywhere at all, you're going to be constantly harassed by 15 million pirates. And as annoying as it may be, that forces the player to do something with naval stuff. It forces the player to have a naval presence in the early game. And also in the late game, when factions have been built up. You know, like when Egypt takes over, like the entire like Africa stuff over there, or Carthage, you know, if the Romans don't destroy it, then Carthage does that. Or, you know, depending if you're fighting the Romans, then the Romans establish a big naval presence right here for the Scythians, and around here by the Brutii. The Scythians, the Scipii, I mean. And the Brutii over there. So, you know, by the time you get there, they also have, they take over for the pirates, essentially. The pirates are early game. But, you know, rebels are not a faction in Rome 2 anymore. They can exist, rebels, as a faction, but that is very rare. You need like a revolt in the home territory of a faction, and the faction still needs to be alive. And then it also has not, it's not supposed to be a slave revolt, because then it doesn't count, I don't think. Only then do you get rebels as like an actual faction, rebels. And that's just, and then, you know, they need to win their revolt attack, because they need to conquer the settlement so that they can have something to recruit. But even when those conditions, if all those conditions, like, occur, which, like I said, is extremely rare, even then, they just sit in the town and do nothing until the player takes them out, or until the AI takes them out. So rebels really aren't a faction anymore, and that actually is pretty sucky especially for naval combat, because the pirates were a very big thing in Rome 1. There was just, they spawn all the time. Maybe they went a bit overboard, but it works. It just works. Like, you may criticize it because, oh, it's unrealistic because they just spawn a huge fleet in the fog of war 3 meters away from my fleet over the end turn. Yeah, maybe, but it works, doesn't it? Why do you build a massive fleet? Because you don't want to deal with that shit. If the pirates attack you, then you can laugh and auto-resolve that battle because you've got a massive fleet over there bringing your army from point A to point B. That's the whole point. I mean, yes, they may be annoying and it may be unrealistic, but they exactly do what they're told. They exactly, you know, they perform their function or whatever, exactly to the letter. That's exactly what they're there for, to force you to, you know, otherwise you just hire one tiny boat because you don't need a fleet. You just need one boat. And it's not like, oh, I need to move an entire full stack, so I need many boats. No, you could just move your entire army with one tiny cohort of ships or whatever. It just fits on one tiny boat. But, you know, you don't want to do that because if you want to move one tiny boat, then sure as hell the fucking pirates are like addicted to attacking boats of yours. And you're going to lose your entire army out at sea. So you're forced to have a naval presence. And then, like I said, in the late game, when the pirates are not as big of a threat anymore, then the big factions take over. Egypt or the Romans, you know, depending on which faction you play, or the Scipii, the Brutii, the Macedonians, perhaps, the Greek city-states, or the Britannia, the Iceni, or Parthia, maybe. Well, not really Parthia. Parthia rarely does well in Rome 1. The Seleucids maybe survive, but yeah, I've pretty much named the big guys. Brutii, Scipii, Egypt, Macedon maybe, Seleucids maybe, Armenia maybe, or Pontus. But you know, they take over at that point. When they're big, they have got a big naval presence too at some point. And you can't just sail straight into their heartland with one tiny boat either, because you need a big fleet there too, because they have fleets patrolling the Mediterranean that they own. So you're forced to get to have a naval presence in Rome 1, because otherwise, well, or you just stick on land the whole time. But also they can block your port, which can actually be pretty hurtful, because if you rely on naval trades, then that can actually just cripple your economy. Naval trade between settlements is extremely powerful in Rome 1. So if you have the enemy blockading all your ports, then you can actually miss out on a crap ton of income. So all of that stuff that made Rome 1 force the player to have a naval presence, none of that stuff is present in Rome 2. The rebels are not a separate faction. Like I said, it's only very rare when they appear. And even then, it's not like they get free armies that spawn in the fog of war or whatever. Like, those pirate ships in Rome 1, those are super important for forcing the player to establish a naval presence, and none of that stuff is present here. There are pirates in Rome 2, but it's just an event. Like, oh, rampant piracy, click, done. That is pirates in Rome 2. It's like a pop-up window where you have to click one of the 3 options, and then the pop-up window disappears, and then, ta-da, you've done it. That is pirates. That's how you deal with pirates in Rome 2. You just click a pop-up window. That's it. They don't actually do anything. They just, they take a percentage of your naval trade away. Do you notice that? No. Is that important? No, not really. You already saw at the end stats there, I made 11 million denarii from taxes and only 303,000 of trade. It's so insignificant, the amount of money that you make with trade here. All of the money I made was made with taxes. 11 million of the 15 million money that I made was made through tax income. And only 303,000 denarii of trade. 303,000 of 15 million. That's negligible. I could have decided not to trade with anybody, and I pretty much would have finished the campaign as fast as I've done right now. You know, in Rome 1 it could be detrimental depending on how you set up your empire, of course. If the enemy decided to block all of your ports, or a bunch of your ports, that could completely destroy your economy, and you would actually have to train some boats in order to free up your ports, so that you actually can get the trade going again. Because even if you don't trade with another faction, training in between your own settlements, either through land or through navy, is super profitable in Rome 1. That can make you a fuck ton of money, and especially with big, wealthy cities like in Greece, in Athens and Larissa, Thessalonica, you know, those big cities over there. When you know, that's usually why the Brutii snowball so fucking fast early on, because they just conquer all of Greece, and then they've got a massive economic powerhouse there, where the cities just trade with each other the whole time, and they make a fuck ton of money. But, you know, none of that stuff is in Rome 2. You can't block ports. Well, you can, but it's actually worse. When you block a port in Rome 2, it's actually detrimental for the person that is blocking the port. When you block a port, you automatically lay siege to a city, because all ports are in cities in Rome 2, and then you take attrition. And not even that little, no, you take a decent chunk of attrition every single turn you lay siege to the port. And do they take attrition? No, that won't go any faster either. If you lay siege with your land army on a city that has a port, and you also block the port with your fleet, you would expect the rate to, the survival, the siege holdout time of the city to be halved, or that the city has a few less turns in it because you're also blocking the port. Because of course port cities survive longer on the siege, because of course they can just be supplied over water. So you would think, oh, if I block the port at the same time, then you can halve the siege holdout time. But no, that doesn't change anything. If you blockade the port, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, it stops trade, but we've already established that trading is not even as important of a way of making income as taxes or whatever. So you're not even hurting the enemy that much by blocking the port, and you are suffering from attrition. And fleets already take longer to replenish than armies. You need to dock them in order to make them replenish quickly, and even then that takes it goes rather slowly. It takes quite a while. Armies, especially later when you upgrade them, they just like replenish in no time, but fleets just take so long, especially early game. They take absolute ages to be replenished. So when you block a port, the only person that is, you know, suffering from that is the person that is blocking the port, which is you. If you block a port, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because your fleet takes attrition that can't be replenished very quickly, and the enemy is not bothered by it. It doesn't decrease siege holdout time. It doesn't cripple their economy. It doesn't, I don't know, starve the population because they can't go out and fish or whatever. No, it doesn't do anything. It only makes sure that you lose your men, and they just like, alright, whatever. There's also a reason why the AI rarely ever does it. I don't even think I've seen the AI blockade a port once, because that's not necessary. Like maybe I see them attack a city. I mean, I believe they, what's it called? The guys down there, the Kush, like, attacked the city, but that was just because they knew that they could win. You know, they didn't block the port to you know, cripple my economy or whatever. No, they actually attacked because they saw that they could win there. It's completely useless, and that's like half of what Navy is all about, blockading ports and like messing up trade routes and stuff. And that doesn't even work either, because you can't attack a trade route. It's not like in Empire Total War where you can select your fleet and then use an attack command on a trade route, and then you automatically block trade from the enemy factions that use that trade route. That isn't present in this game. The only thing that comes sort of close is moving your fleet on top of a trade route and then switching it to raiding stance, but raiding stance barely makes any money either. It makes less than trade, and we've already seen that trade barely makes any money whatsoever anyway. I made 15 million denarii in this campaign. 11 million denarii was made with tax income. 303,000 denarii was made with trade, and raiding is less than trade. Significantly less than trade. So raiding trade routes doesn't even work properly, or as in, you know, it doesn't work as well as an Empire Total War. It doesn't have the added effect as an Empire Total War, I should say. And not only that, it just barely provides anything, especially even for those pirate factions, like the RDI and the Odrysian Kingdom and Tylus or Tyrus or whatever those other guys were called. They've got like a bonus, like plus 100% bonus to raiding, but that doesn't... If you get a plus 100% bonus to raiding, but you only get 25 denarii through raiding, I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you get the point that even a 100% increase doesn't even do that much. You know? So there's so many things that work against going naval in Rome 2. Because you can't even properly like attack a city, you can only attack port cities. And like I said, if it's not like an Empire Total War where like having a big naval presence can make you a ton of money. It costs a ton of money to build a fleet. You cannot afford that shit in the early game. So, especially in this campaign here, I was like, alright, I want to have like a big naval fight out here on the Black Sea for dominance over the Black Sea with Pontus. But I was like, alright, well first I need to like build up my naval yards, because I need some proper ships, first of all. And then I was like, alright, well, actually, I don't really have... I can barely afford an army, let alone a fleet. And what if you barely have any money, and you have to choose between a fleet or an army? You choose an army, because the army can go anywhere. The army can conquer any settlement at all. Every single settlement can be conquered by an army. The fleet can only conquer a settlement that is, like, close to the water. Or, like, you know, has a harbor. And only then... The balance of power is almost never in your favor when you attack with a fleet. Only when you attack a tiny town with a big fleet. And you need to, like, have melee units in the fleet because they need to disembark. And that means that the fleet is optimized for raining land stuff. You know, taking settlements out. And that does not necessarily mean it's optimized for naval combat, because there you preferably want, what's it called, missile infantry to shoot the other ships. So, you know, you kind of like need two fleets, one for taking settlements and one for naval combat. Especially when the AI has some big fleets that you need to deal with. And by the time you've got that stuff, it's already by the time you don't really need it anymore. And you can just mostly ignore the naval stuff anyway. If you, you know, in this campaign I specifically sought out to like get some naval presence here and there, but you know, like you don't really need it that much. When I invaded the Seleucid Empire with all my armies here, there was a humongous fleet over here in this part of the Mediterranean. I was like, okay, perfect. This is what this campaign is about. It's like taking out that fleet is going to be super important because they are a big menace, you know? In a situation like that, it's perfectly fine to go ahead and say, alright, that will be my first fleet. Because, you know, I was economically stable enough that I could hire a fleet that had a spare money in them, because, you know, I needed money for my armies. I needed my armies to be filled up with better soldiers because I was attacked on other places, and I needed to keep things under control because, you know, like, Navy is so far down the priority list in Rome 2 because it's just not necessary. It's just not necessary. There are no pirates, so there's no early game threat, so you don't even need to. And even if there were pirates, like I said, blockading ports is not nearly as effective as it was in Rome 1. So, you know, raising a fleet is super low on the priority list, especially at the start of the campaign, because you barely have any money, so you need to invest in a regular army so that you can conquer something. Because, like I said, conquering a city with a fleet is very difficult with low-tier boats. You know, you need a big fleet, you need to strike at a good time. And, you know, after that, the fleet can't really defend it either, because if they send a land army to take the city back that your fleet conquered, then you're kind of fucked anyway, because your fleet can't... There's no way in hell that your fleet can defend against that. But then even when the enemy has some naval presence, like with the Seleucids, they had a massive fleet there. It's like, alright, perfect. There's going to be a massive naval battle. What the fuck did they do? They went there, and they took so much attrition that there was only like 3 men on each boat. Like, I finally had an opportunity for a massive naval battle, and then they just sailed off into an area where they took attrition and then came back at some point where I intercepted them, and they only had like 3 men on every single boat. It was just no challenge whatsoever. They just starved themselves to death for no reason at all. Like, what? Like, I finally get a chance to do something and then the AI just derps out. I mean, maybe it was just bad luck, but still, like, the AI, I believe, like, in general, the AI makes better choices with land armies. They just neglected the naval AI as well. So, yeah, I mean, I can keep going, but, you know, there's, like, the fact that, you know, Navy is super expensive, and like I said, it's low on the priority list because no pirates, no early game threats, no benefits, very few benefits, very lackluster benefits for the amount of effort that you have to put in. Because that's the thing, right? Especially, like I said, early game, but also later. I mean, at this point, eventually, when I was just now with the campaign, I could have hired a bunch of extra fleets, sure. But then I wouldn't have noticed. Like I said, I made like 200,000 denarii almost 300,000 denarii every single turn. I could have raised a couple extra fleets. I wouldn't have noticed. It would have only taken a massive, tiny dent in my income. But early game, the amount of money that you have to put into raising a proper fleet is excruciatingly much. You need a fuck ton of money in order to get a proper fleet going, and not only in recruiting but also in upkeep. Boats are pretty expensive to upkeep. And what do you get in return? Not much. Like, yeah, you can defeat some enemy fleets, but that doesn't really do a whole lot. Like I said, you can't really take settlements with fleets unless you specifically design the fleet to be able to do that. But then they're not really optimized for naval combat, so that's like a double-edged sword. You can't really raid. Well, you can, but it barely does. No way in hell that it's going to cover for the cost of the fleet. Like, yeah, maybe you could just raise one admiral to do the raiding, but I'm pretty sure that even one-on-one, like one boat doing the raiding, I'm pretty sure that the money that the boat is making with raiding is not going to offset the upkeep. Maybe later, when you've researched so many researches that you can, you know, you've got like so many researches that decrease upkeep of all your units. And they all add on to each other, so when you research a whole bunch of them, eventually your upkeep is going to be very low. So maybe at that point it's profitable, but that's late, super late in the campaign. By that time, you should already have like half the map, or like a humongous chunk of that. By that point, you should not have to worry about money at all. By that point, you should probably make so much money that you can just raise 3 full stack armies of your best units and you wouldn't notice a difference with your income. So what the hell does raiding add to that? Nothing. It just adds like 3 denarii on top of an income of 300,000. That is, you're not going to notice. So by the time it's useful and profitable, it's not necessary anymore to raid. The only time when it can make a big difference is in the early game, but like I said, it doesn't really offset the cost because boats are expensive in the early game because there's no research yet to decrease the upkeep, and raiding doesn't provide a lot of money. Like, again, maybe an exception for the pirate factions, but then you just then you're just covering your costs and making a few extra denarii on top of that. Is that really all worth all the effort? Is that really wasting all the money to raise a fleet that you're not really going to use otherwise? And like I said, like, you can't really capture cities, and you can also not really block the cities because that's detrimental to you and not the enemy. You lose men and you take punishment for blockading an enemy port, which is absolutely insane. Like, you're blocking their port. That should cripple them. They should suffer consequences for that. They, like, lose trade, lose food, lose men, lose... You know, I don't know. Like, they should be suffering from that. But no, the only person suffering from that is you. Like, they maybe lose, like, a couple denarii because you're blocking trade there. But we've already established that trade is not really that powerful in Rome 2. So, you're only hurting yourself because you're taking attrition, and replenishing ships takes fucking forever in the early game when you have no... Like, eventually it gets better when you what's it called? Research extra replenishment rates, or when you have a good admiral that has replenishment rates bonuses with trade talent and Tony's model in my case. But that's, again, that's late campaign. The early campaign, that, you know, you suffer from that, and later on it doesn't really matter. But later on you don't really need your boats anyway because there's not really that many... Well, there are some exceptions still, but, you know... So you know, there's so many things that work against having a big active navy in Rome 2. The AI doesn't really prioritize navies either, and when they do, they just like sail around and sail in attrition areas and just don't do anything. I mean, the only time was when I fought that battle down there in the Persian Gulf, with that one fleet trying to, like, attack my fleet, and then it drew in the reinforcements. Which, you know, it was a massive slaughter, but I saw the bigger picture and then my army was able to conquer the city. That was the only time where it felt like naval stuff really was worth it. But that was like one random moment in the entire thing. Like the fucking... And oh yeah, and of course when I attacked those transport ships in the Nile. But you know, situations like that, that's when navies are fine. Completely fine. But yeah, focusing a campaign with naval stuff... if you want to do that, just play Empire Total War, because they did it better there. Way better there. There's so little reason for you to be active, super active, out in the Mediterranean in this game. Out on the water. So little reasons. The cost and, like, the offset of the cost is, like, it makes no sense. You have to put in so much effort, so much money, so much denarii. And you barely get anything in return, if anything at all. There's a big chance that you have a net loss with your navies and your armies and conquering your land stuff. That is what actually keeps your empire afloat in the early game. And especially late game. Don't even get me started on late game. Navies don't do anything like profitable in late game. Like I said, the raiding may be profitable in the early game, but it's it's very difficult to offset the cost with the upkeep. And by the time you've researched all that stuff, it's not really necessary to raid anymore because you should already own a fuck ton of the map. So, you know, like, there's no incentive to be active out in the water in Rome 2 when you just look at it objectively. Like, yeah, why do you do it? Because it's fun to do the naval battles, you know? Like, even though they're pretty janky, I really dislike when the boats automatically get locked into each other, like every other enemy ship has an invisible corvus. And they just lock your ship in place and then you magically jump, like get a Super Mario jump and jump from their ship to the other, even though there's like a 25-meter gap in between. Really dislike that. Like I said, everybody just gets a magic invisible corvus and then all of a sudden ships are linked to each other. I really dislike that stuff. But other than that, fighting naval battles is kind of fun. Except for that part, which I really don't like. You know, what the hell was the point even I was trying to make? Oh yeah, that's the only reason why you would do it. Because it's fun to do the naval battles. Other than that, there's really no reason why. You can just ignore them. If I ignored navies the entire campaign through, I probably would have maybe taken two extra episodes, one extra episode. 1 or 2 extra episodes, and then it would have been, what is it, part like 39 or 40 maybe? And then the campaign would have been finished anyway, you know? Like, there's a couple situations where the fleets definitely helped. I mean, I'm not denying that fleets are useful, because they are. They can be useful. I mean, you've seen it in those 5 battles or whatever. You know, attacking the transport ships in the Nile. Drawing out the city garrison and the army in that city down there with my fleet. And barely winning a massive Pyrrhic victory there, but in the bigger picture that was super useful because my army could just walk in the city at that point. Now, there are definitely situations where navies are super useful, but in terms of like focusing on a navy campaign, that's just not profitable, that's just not useful, that's just not... Like, there's no benefits in Rome 2 to do that. Like I said, there's no pirates in Rome 2. Just a click of a button of a pop-up window, that's pirates in Rome 2. So, there's no early game pressure or need to start a naval presence in the early game. Late game, it is sort of not really required, but it can help you in some sort of occasion. Like that's just it, you know? Like, it can maybe help you in some occasions. That's the only reason why you would ever want a fleet in Rome 2. Because it can maybe help you in some occasions. And of course, you know, you can transport your ships just in case the enemy has some naval presence. But that's late game stuff, you know? Early game, you can just ignore naval stuff altogether if you really want to. Like, even if the enemy shows up with a fleet of their own on a town with yours, mostly in the early game, your empire is small enough that you can just reroute your army back there, and then, even if they manage to capture it, you'll just take it back in one turn anyway, and then destroy the fleet because the fleet is stuck in the port. You know, late game, like I said, there are opportunities with fleets that you can use to do things, you know. I was planning to have a massive naval fight there with the Seleucids, even though they didn't do it. And when they came back from starving themselves out in the Mediterranean, I just killed them. But, you know, like, attacking the transports in the Nile, attacking the drawing out the city garrison there. You know, there's definitely opportunities with fleets. I'm not denying that at all. But, you know, you don't even need fleets in the early game. There's so little reason for you to get active out in the Mediterranean. It's ridiculous. Like I said, the pirates aren't there, so there's no early game pressure. Blockading your ports never rarely ever happens by the AI, and if it does, then they try to just take the city anyway, and that fails most of the time because their fleet's not that great. Especially if you manually resolve that, there's a possibility you can actually just like take stuff out. And even if they decide to block it, which I've never actually seen, it doesn't really cripple you that much, not as much as Rome 1 anyway. And you know, the same thing applies to you. You don't really cripple the enemy by blockading the port. As a fact, you cripple yourself when you block an enemy port. So there's absolutely no incentive for you to go out in the water early game. Later on, when you have more than enough money, when your armies have conquered I don't know how many other settlements, because you know that is how you make money, you know, with armies conquering stuff, like with the raiding and stuff, with your fleets, and you know, there's so little money to be made, and in the early game you barely have any money. So do you want to spend it on a fleet that can barely, if you're super lucky, barely make back the upkeep? And I'm not even talking about the recruitment cost, because you need to recuperate that as well. Or spend it on an army that can conquer a bunch of cities. And expand your empire, expand your imperium, which gives you more cities and more armies, I mean. The choice is easily made, in my opinion. And then again, okay, yeah, again, like I said, again, late game, when you have enough money, when you don't even need to, like, properly, when you don't need to, like, be super tight on the budget because you got a fuck ton of money, then you can bother with fleets. And then you're not even doing it because it's super necessary, and maybe, like, situational, you know, like, maybe you need a fleet to get from here to there, and there's a couple, like, maybe you want to invade Greece, so there's a couple, you know, like Athenian fleets over there, and then just to make sure you want to move your army from there to there. Like, maybe that stuff is happening, and otherwise you're just training it just because maybe an opportunity arises. That's the only reason. Late game, when you... And it's only late game, because you first need to fucking establish yourself because you barely have any money at the start, and that is because... And that is done with armies on land. You can't really do anything with your boats. Like, it's not like you can make a fuck ton of money with raiding. Like, maybe with those guys, but it's not even that much if I remember correctly. And like I said, you can't cripple them by blocking ports, because you're crippling yourself when you're blocking ports. You can't take cities, and even if you can't really defend them properly, because you need to leave, and it takes fucking forever to replenish on fleets, even if they're docked. And by the time they do, it's late game, because then you have researched a fuck ton of things. So you have a lot of money from your armies that conquered settlements on land. And only then do you actually get a proper navy. But that's like your late game. And you barely actually get naval battles done anyway, because there are only situational battles there. Like, oh hey, there's a transporting fleet there. I mean, again, I'm not saying that they're not useful in those situations, because they definitely are. But those situations are very far and few between. So yeah, naval combat, even though it's fun, there's very little incentive to actually get actively on that in the early game. Or most of the campaign, for that matter. In my opinion, in order to fix that, they should have brought back the rebel pirate ships in Rome 1. And make it so that you actually cripple the enemy when you blockade a port. That the enemy actually gets, like, angry or frustrated, or like a bit hot under the collar when you're blocking food or whatever. And also maybe add that you actually like decrease siege holdout time. When you're laying siege to a city and it has like 12 turns remaining, and then you block the port, then it gets halved into 6 or something. Because they can't actually like supply from the ocean anymore. But you know, in this right now they just act like they can, even though you're blocking it. This completely blocking ports is completely useless in Rome 2. Make it not useless and add the pirates back, and you can ignore the like I said, the invisible Corvus mechanic that you've got going on with naval battles. If you add just those two features, like make blockading ports profitable, or raiding more profitable, or like, you know, whatever, that whole thing, and add the pirates back as an actual physical pirates, not just a pop-up window that you have to click away. If you just do that, then you automatically force the player to like get some naval presence going right away. And like I said, then it's not just for like annoyance sake, it's actually like profitable even as well. And then you've done it even better than in Rome 1, because in Rome 1 you don't really get that much profit out of navy. In Rome 1 it's just necessary to get a navy, because otherwise you're getting fucked up by pirates all the time. And later on, like I said, by big empires like the Egyptians or the Brutii or the Scipii or whatever. Like, in Rome 1 they just said, oh, you need a fleet. You need some navy presence, because otherwise you just get fucked up on the Mediterranean. So they could, and if you add those things that I just said, you not only have done what Rome 1 did, but you've sort of surpassed it already, because then you can actually make money on water, which is something you can't do in Rome 1. But, like I said, none of that stuff that made the naval presence required in Rome 1 is in here. So it's just not necessary. It's just a vanity thing. It's a very good vanity thing, because like I said, there are situations where you can use the fleets to your advantage, where you can actually take advantage significantly. I'm not denying that whatsoever, but those are very rare situations that usually only happen in the late game, because early game there's absolutely no reason for you to be out in the water. It's just costing you money. I mean, there's a couple of exceptions, like maybe, you know, in Cimmeria's case, crossing there and fighting Pontus, you know, there's other factions that have like neighbors or across the water that are enemies. Maybe there, for those factions, are more beneficial to get started earlier, but you know, it's not even that. You know, and there's also the fact that there aren't really any like cool units or whatever in cool naval units. Even the pirate factions, they're the most bland factions ever in their army roster. Their army, like land armies, are super bland. They barely have any interesting units in there. Any good units, any interesting units, both, you know? And then you think, oh, well, they're pirate factions, so the reason why their land armies is very lackluster is probably because they have a crazy navy or whatever, and that's why their strength is. Well, no. They just have the exact same ships that everybody else has. Like, what the fuck? You pirated them. you branded them. You marketed them as pirate factions, and then they get the same ships that everybody else gets. And then you also fuck up their land army roster. Like even Cimmeria or like Black Sea colonies. You know, Cimmeria. What the hell are those guys called? Colchis and Pergamon, those are the Black Sea colonies, so they also get marked. Oh, Black Sea colonies. They have they are active out in the Black Sea, but they also get the same ships that everybody else. I mean, the dreadnought that as I've been calling them. Not every Greek faction gets those, but so that's a bit of a special unit, I would say. And of course, you got your special units on the ships, but you know, there's not any crazy ships or whatever. Not any. I mean, maybe there's not much they can do there, but you know, like some sort of like what's it called, like variety with ships for factions that are supposed to have a bigger naval presence would have been appreciated. Not just the same ships that everybody else gets. So like, what the fuck? So yeah, you know. So those are my, that's what I've discovered in this campaign, trying to do naval stuff, and then I ran into these issues that I've just mentioned. So yeah, naval combat in Rome, naval presence in Rome 2 is not really necessary at all for a successful campaign. Like I said, it's a vanity thing. It's a useful vanity thing in late game, sometimes, but that's it. It's not necessary, it's not required like in Rome 1. Where you get completely messed up over the across the Mediterranean if you don't have a proper navy. No, it's just a vanity thing. A vanity thing that can be useful sometimes. In very rare occasions. That is naval. All naval things related in Rome 2. You know, the fucking pirates are a joke. Just they'll pop up messages and they get a percentage thing. Absolute joke. Blocking ports is detrimental to you and not the enemy. raiding barely provides any money, and by the time it does, it's not... you don't even fucking bother, because you're so deep into the campaign that you won't even notice the difference if you raid or not. You don't get any special cool ships for factions that are supposed to have a strong naval presence. You know, I can keep going. There's a whole list of things that make it not so fun to be out on the water in Rome 2. And not even necessary. Like I said, you could just ignore it and then you can have a fine campaign. In Rome 1 it was actually required that you actually had to have naval presence, because otherwise you would be fucked up. You would lose a fuck ton of income because they would block your ports or, you know, raid your ship that just wanted to move an army from A to B. You needed to do that, otherwise you would get completely harassed into oblivion by pirates, and later on by big factions that own the Mediterranean on their side, like Egypt or the Scipii, the Brutii, the Macedonians or whatever. In Rome 2 it's not required at all. It could possibly be useful sometimes. That is naval combat or naval presence in Rome 2. Maybe, possibly, in one specific location, perhaps. In Rome 1, it's like you need it or you're going to just unnecessarily make things difficult for yourself. That's naval presence in Rome 1. It is just needed. Pretty early on as well. Well, depending on where you start, of course. What's it called? The Germanians don't really need naval presence, but Rome, when you start as one of the Roman families, especially as the Brutii or the Scipii, you definitely need naval presence. As the Spanish, I needed naval presence. As the Macedonians, you would need naval presence. As the Greek city-states, you want a hell of a lot need some naval presence. As the Seleucids, at some point you probably need naval presence too. As the Egyptians, as the Armenians, as the Parthians eventually. Because you need to get to Rome at some point, so you need, you know, to bring your ships over, or your troops over with ships. It's just required in Rome 1. At some point, you need to have some sort of naval presence, because otherwise you get fucked up by pirates or by all the big factions. In Rome 2, no. You can just ignore the Mediterranean for as long as you want, and then you'll have a successful campaign. So yeah, definitely some things that they should have changed with that, but okay. So those are my opinions on naval combat in Rome 2. And that's reinforces to me why I didn't really bother with this, because it's not necessary. That's why I never did it. And this campaign is a bit of a, what's it called, a proof of that. Because, you know, I started this, I knew it from the beginning. I had it in my mind, this is going to be a naval focus campaign. And then when I was over here with Pontus, I was like, oh, I don't really have a lot of money. I don't really want to spend money on a proper navy because, like I said, there's so much money that goes into it and barely any money that comes out of it or any benefit that comes out of it, you know? Like, it doesn't have to be like money comes in, money goes out. Money goes out, money comes in, you know? Like, it's not like I spent 2,000 denarii on this fleet, so now I need to make 2,100 denarii in return or whatever. No. Making... getting power in return is also valuable, you know? You don't need to make money, you need to make power as well. You know, having a big fleet gives you power to some extent, but, you know, having a big army gives you more power. And, you know, like, I don't really want to get into the whole philosophical side of that, but, you know, like, the amount of money and effort that you have to put into getting a proper fleet and the amount of benefits you get in return, as in money and or power, are they don't weigh up to each other, you know? Like, there's a massive imbalance there in the early game. Late game, when money is not an issue anymore, you can just decide to go ahead and do it, because even though that fleet's probably wasting a fuck ton of money, you don't really care because you're making so much money that's like, oh well, whatever. So early game, when I was like, oh wow, like, you know, the Pontus across the Black Sea there, I was like, oh, you know, it's eventually I just conquered along the coast there. And then had some fleets here and there, but there was like never really a proper situation. And blocking the port of Bithynia cost my fleet some lives, and then it took them ages to replenish that. It's just like, you know, cost effective or whatever, it doesn't work. Like I said, late game it works, but you can just ignore that the fact that the fleet is massively expensive and not really providing you anything, because you're already making so much money that you don't care and don't notice. That's why you, like, you know, probably when most of you also start to build fleets. Because, you know, it doesn't matter anymore, because you have enough money anyway, so you can spend it on vanity projects like a fleet that don't really do much for most of the year. Only occasionally go out to set sail and win an important battle here and there. It's just not required to have a big naval presence in Rome 2, which sucks. You know, it's even required in Rome 1, by a simple mechanic of them spawning fuck tons of pirates everywhere. So yeah, anyway, that's my opinion on naval combat in this game. Well, the whole naval mechanic, I should say, not necessarily naval combat. I already was decently vocal about that as well, where the invisible corvus that everybody has is a bit bullshit. Very bullshit, actually. But yeah, anyway, that is my opinion on the matter. Anyway, that is it for this campaign. Definitely make sure to drop a suggestion in the comments for a new faction that you want me to play as. Can be a faction on Rome 1, Rome 2, Medieval 2, Empire. Drop a suggestion and I will check it out. And maybe do it, maybe I won't. I don't know what I'll play next in terms of Total War. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. We'll see. Maybe there will be a different game. Not a Total War game, but something else. And then back to Total War eventually. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so that is it for the campaign. Check the description of this video, because there's a download link to this campaign. To the save file. The Cimmeria save file. So, yeah, you can check out the save file there. Maybe you probably need the mods that I have installed. Well, at least you need Trades, Talents, and Toadies mod, but I'm pretty sure most of you guys have already got that, because it's one of the most popular mods out there. Yeah, but yeah, you can download the save file, so you can finish up the campaign, conquer the rest of the world if you want to. Have a little look at what buildings I built in which settlements, which buildings I prioritized, which researches I've done, you know, or just disband everything and watch the Empire crumble into nothingness. I don't know. Do with it whatever you want. There's a download link in the description, so you guys can download the save file and do with it whatever you want. If something fun and interesting happens, definitely be sure to let me know, because I always like hearing from you guys when you like use my campaign and find something interesting or whatever. Yeah, anyway, that's it. So like I said, drop a suggestion for a new faction in Rome 1, Rome 2, Empire, Medieval, who cares. And check the description if you want to download the save file, and I will see you guys in the next video, or specifically maybe a Total War video if you're only here for my Total War videos. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. See you later, Romans. Waletta.